Hey, everybody. Can you believe it? It's week 4, beginning of week 4, and time is going by really fast. I hope you're having fun. Given tomorrow is Clubex, I have decided to record this video so that you can watch it anytime and give you a preview or review of grant writing. That is the focus for this week. So let me share my screen. Just as a recap, from last week regarding the planning for impact through evaluation. If you've not watched the video, please do watch the video. Again, this is the curriculum here, very useful document to keep everybody on the same page. Long story short, there was some additional recommended videos to watch there. These are like couples, 7 minutes, 5 minutes. So you should watch these. Our evaluator officer, Sarah Jennifer, has done a great job of putting these really short videos just to tell you about some constructs around STEM engagement, STEM activation, some of the things that you maybe have not thought about are things that you could evaluate and review in your programs. As well, in the post session stuff that we put in there, there was an example of outcomes. So if you have not clicked this is a great document again that has actually from previous fellows, and you can look at some of the things that they looked at, key outcomes, and who was their audience, all the questions that we are asking you guys all the time to keep in mind. And so, in fact, I think you should be able to add, if you want to, you can add your piece in here. But again, this is really to help you think about some of your outcomes and how you're going to be evaluating them. Okay. And so for this week, we are getting into grant writing. And this is a very fast transition, but the goal here is to really get you guys actually writing the grants that are out there. So please watch the Operations and Funding Matters video that will help you just provide context around this topic that I am going to be reviewing today. And additional bonus video, you can watch this anytime. It's optional should you want to. This is one of our residents, Dr. Matt Wilkins, who talks about his initiative and all the things that he was thinking through regarding grants and funding and so forth, and the logic model of how he built it and everything. So take a look at that. It's a nice little, it's a nice review, should I say, on that aspect. And also, now this is a must-see. So this is our funding opportunities database. And so you should totally click on this and take a look all the opportunities that are available that we know about. And I think there's more that you can filter through and sort by area, whatever you want, and click on the link and check out, when the deadlines are for that. And so this is just a useful document to keep in mind. Database, shall we say, of all these resources that are available. And I believe we have almost 100 there as well. So lots of information there. We're trying to give you guys, again, the unfair advantage from others. And this database hopefully does that for you. And this is it. All right. So going back to our grants and so forth, the big thing this week is really you guys beginning to write your own grants, okay? And I'm going to go over that today very briefly. So let me just switch screens here to my slides, and then we can get going very briefly. So long story short, you guys are going to be writing grants. And for me, and it's one of those things that you really should do this as soon as possible. And so to give you a review where we've been so far, we've been doing some logic model work and project charter work so far, right? So hopefully by this time, your project charter should be alive and breathing really, really well, okay? The next piece of the puzzle is getting into, and this is part of your deliverables, is the grant submission, the grant writing. And we hope that the discussions around the logic model plus your active work on the project charter should give you enough information to just fill this thing out very, very quickly. And then notice that we're building on top onto the pitch deck, which we'll spend after we finish the grant stuff, we will start talking more and more about as the weeks go by. So very quickly, for grants, really, you can't do it justice in this short little video here. It's a big topic to discuss, and there's lots of things in there. And so what I hope that we will do is next week we can get into some more Q&A, or you can drop some questions in the Slack channel as things come up. And I may also provide an additional slot this week for office hours for you to come by and just chat with me regarding grants, and if you want to discuss your own grants as well. Of course, you can talk to your mentor as well. But long story short, think about, why do you need funding? What do you need it for? What type of entity are you going to use your grant for? Are you thinking about a fiscal sponsor versus a nonprofit? And if you don't know the difference, you should watch the assigned video, pre-session video for what a fiscal sponsor is. I will tell you that you want to get very comfortable with the rejections. There's a lot of failure in here, a lot of no's, if you will, but they make you stronger, they make you better. And all these types of organizations that I go over in the other video, I won't go over it in detail now, but I wanted to just flash this for you to keep in mind that as your entity becomes alive, as you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, grants and so forth, the responsibility adds up. When you have, when you're thinking about money as well, it becomes another thing to think about and worry, should we say, as you begin to build your whole enterprise. So let's get right into it. And so our task, your task, should you choose to accept, is to actually write a full-on grant. And so we found a really great grant opportunity that I think provides enough room for you to be able to do this in 2 weeks. All right. And so this is coming from the Science Literacy Foundation, and their vision, if you will, is a world in which science plays a guiding role in shaping a safe, meaningful, and opportunity-filled future for everyone. SLF, as they go by, supports projects designed to enhance people's understanding of scientific knowledge and an underlying scientific method, while respecting the cultures of the diverse populations we are working to reach. Given your diverse projects, we thought this would be a great opportunity for all of you to apply to, at least try to apply to, and have that experience just going through the motions of putting the pieces together. Okay. And this, by the way, this grant is already in your resource folder. So if you go to the resource folder right now under grants, you should be able to find the notice, if you will, for the grant, the request for proposals, if you will, and other information. So this is $25,000, and again, this is part of what you'll be reading as you're seeing, as you come across grants from foundations. And so here they want, the maximum you can ask for is $25,000, and they're telling you no more than 5 pages. Okay, we recommend I probably go no more than 3. I think that includes everything. If you have a figure in there, if you have tables, just put them all in there within the that framework. And so I would encourage you to read some of these sample project areas, so science journalism initiatives, community organizing, partnership building projects, education research projects targeting science news literacy and science comprehension, summits, events, workshops. There's a lot of things that they do cover. It's important that you read every single word of any grant request for proposal. It's amazing at times, if you get that wrong, you're making it much easier for them to say no to you. Okay, so you definitely want to pay attention to those details. Sometimes it's not easy to find, and if you don't know, you better email someone and ask. Okay, so what do they want to see in this grant proposal? Well, again, no more than 5 pages, but we recommend going no more than 3. If you want to go more, fine. But again, I think 3 and some change should be plenty. And notice that what they want very closely mimics what the project charter that we have been asking you guys to do has on store. So the problem, the solution, the methods, the funding requirements. So there, you actually have to think a little bit more about what is that you need to do. And then additionally, the organization and its expertise, scalability, right? So how will you, can this be replicated and expanded if successful? Something to think about as well. And of course, evaluation, right? The metrics. Notice in table 2 in your project charter, ask you these questions. What metrics will you be using to determine impact of your program? Okay. So we hope that given the charter work you've done, this should not be a big lift. In fact, what you're doing here is to enhance and elaborate some of the items that you have in your project charter, okay? And so try and put together full sentences, use whatever additional data you want to put in here, and put together this grant proposal, okay? So the sample submission, as I mentioned earlier, is in the Fellows resource folder. And as a bonus, there is a sample submission that is in there. And that is an actual real submission that is part of my work for my lab. And I wanted to take you over that very, very quickly. So let me share my screen here if I can find it again. So is the grant writing there. So here's a sample grant. And notice that, again, I'm following their rubric, their structure exactly as they have it. Problem, the solution. Notice that I've used some references there as well in text that you could use. And so just to give you a snapshot, this is actually for the Stories in Science journal that I run in my lab. And so what we are doing is trying to put together those elements in a way that there's a problem that you're trying to address, and then the solution comes about as being this journal that we have put together here, okay? And so I'm just gonna just scroll through here, all the pieces of the puzzle, the methods, take a look at it, and also a mini budget that is in here, the funding requirements, what they are, whether it's for your team, whether it's for equipment, whether it's for databases. Think through about what it is that you actually need the money for, okay? And elaborate what that cost will be, all right? And remember, you have up to $25,000 that you could use. The organization and its expertise, that's going to be your initiative. And I would add here that you can absolutely use SAI as the fiscal sponsor, okay? And if you don't know what that is, you should listen to the other video. That you can use again to submit your grant. And if you award it, for example, you can use our infrastructure to be able to bring that grant through, okay? But again, this is something for you to keep in mind. Some of you may have, you're thinking about forming your own nonprofit, then you would put that here. But if you don't, either use your own university, or SAI is also an opportunity for you to use our infrastructure. And the rest of it is self-explanatory, okay? So yeah, I encourage you to take a look at this. And as an example, don't copy, like, just do your thing, okay? This is a real submission. It is currently pending, okay? And who knows what will happen. But we would like you guys to put together a submission, a real submission that then you can submit. And we'll tell you more about how to submit it. It's very simple, just through email. And then get that experience of waiting and seeing whether there is interest in funding it as well. Okay, so we hope that you're seeing the pieces come together. The project charter, the logic model stuff we've been talking about, the articulation of what the problem is, right? How important that is. And then now, as you bring it together into a real thing, right? A grant proposal that then you can think about building. And I'll just add on here some of the activity, maybe like website building could be an activity that you would add in here, but also as a funding requirement that you need X amount of dollars to build a website, an advanced website that will do X, Y, and Z. All right. So you want to think through all those elements, work with your mentor to put it together. We hope that the project charter, again, serves as a foundation of which you can then use some of that content to build this enterprise, this proposal. All right. So please get in touch if you have any questions, and have fun with it. Have fun with it. It's a great experience, and this is the first time we've actually ever had fellows do this during the program. but we felt that you guys could handle it. Okay. And so with that, I will stop there and I look forward to your questions. Okay.